And here is Brad Keselowski, who is pitting out of 6th place.
I think this might be the beginning of a regular stop, Dick.
Yeah, Brad Keselowski, who's having a terrific day here. Believe it or not, this is the first time he has ever run a sprint car at this particular racetrack, a sprint cup race at this track, and he is just flying today, cutting through the traffic, doing a nice job, cruising a nice job in the pit stop.
And half a second. And the 99 has turned over Brad Keselowski.
And we have a caution.
My goodness.
I don't know if I'm okay.
Keselowski was on track for a 6th place finish.
Boy,
and we're told there was contact between Edwards and Keselowski.
And have we seen that somewhere once before?
Talladega last year and early in this race at lap 41.
A little crossover move here by Carl. Clean here, clean here. Just slight contact. Look at that thing go.
That looked so much like Edwards' turnover at Talladega off the bumper of Keselowski.
It really did, and I'm so wondering and hoping that when they put the spoiler back on these cars, they'll quit turning over like this.
Keselowski's put the window net down.
The roof flaps deployed, but it did not sit that car back down. I'm like you, Darrell. I'm going to be so glad to see that rear spoiler back on these cars.
I think that's it's got to be something to that.
That car took a hard hit in the left A pillar, the windshield post right in front of the driver.
You just see how that wing sticks out so far out the back of the car, behind the car. It almost looks, if it'll create downforce with the car going forward, it's got to create a pocket of air behind it when it gets around backwards.
Guys, you saw it right there. Those white gloves, they made a turn to the right.
Brad Keselowski has climbed out of his Penske Dodge. We're under caution with 6 laps to go. There's Brad. He's okay. Helmet, Hans device out.
He wasn't sure.
The best thing is he's walking away.
What a shame.
A fine ride undone. Little limp to his step.
Yeah, he's dazed, man. I mean, like he said, I don't know if I'm all right or not.
He's moving okay.
That looks a little better.
Yeah, much better.
Favoring that left foot.
A little hop in his step. But let's take you back almost a year to the last lap at Talladega in the spring. That's Brad in the black car. They're racing for the win. Carl said he may have come down just a bit. Brad held his line to keep from going over the yellow line. Ryan Newman gets wrecked, and Edwards flies into the fence. Now today, back at lap 41, watch the 12 on the bottom, the red car just barely gets into Edwards, sending Carl up and into Joey Logano, pretty much ruining both their days. Now both those cars were repaired, came back on track many laps down, but here with just a handful of laps to go, Edwards and Keselowski get together again.
All the flaps came open. The cowl flaps came open below the windshield. The roof flaps came open.
I think that if you just, you know, we didn't know this, had no way of knowing this until these cars started getting airborne like that. That rear wing sticking out behind the car so far. I know they say they tested it and they can't really verify that, but it sure looks that way.
But Terrell, I got to ask you, Carl Edwards is 156 laps down. What's going on here?
That was not necessary. Very unnecessary.
The free pass will go to Denny Hamlin. Kurt Busch appeared to be able to hold off Montoya, but we won't know how that would have played out because we'll have a restart here. Let's take this back a lap prior to when they crashed.
See them here. This is coming off turn 4. Whoa.
He was trying hard right there.
I think he was going to give him a little tap right there. Missed him.
And then the next time around this happens. You know, we talked about rivalries and about the gloves coming off.
Well, you know,
I think they have.
Denny Hamlin and Keselowski in the Nationwide Series have had a little run in. Matter of fact, Hamlin spun Keselowski out, similar to that same situation at Homestead in the last race last year. This is a young man in that 12 car that has not made a lot of friends, but that's not good protocol right there.
Earlier, when Carl climbed out of the car, he had a look at the replay with Dick Berggren, and I think we made the comment, he was very gracious.
I really thought it was his fault, but that replay doesn't look like it was as malicious as I thought.
But he went on to further say, Brad never gives me any room.
Yeah, and I said at the time, remember, that I thought when he went and looked at that again, he might change his mind.
I know he showed the highlights of 2 Cup situations, one earlier in this race and then from Talladega. These two also got together in Memphis in the Nationwide Series race. In fact, Keselowski wrecked Edwards over at Memphis.
What you just heard was Bob Osborne telling his driver, Carl Edwards, that NASCAR is parking Edwards for the balance of the race, and he's being called to the NASCAR hauler.
See, this is a fear that NASCAR has to have when they say they're going to let the guys be guys, let their drivers be drivers and take care of things themselves. And this is a fear that they have to have.
He's not doing himself no favor right now going backwards down pit road either. They're not going to like that at all.
So Carl Edwards goes to the garage after contact between he and Brad Keselowski sends Keselowski on his roof, out of the race, and away from what would have been a top 10 finish. Chris?
Mike, thanks. With Jeff Hammond here watching in the Hollywood Hotel. 3 laps to go before the caution coming out. So we're set up. We've had, what, 5 last lap dramatic finishes here in Atlanta. We might be ready for another one that won't involve Keselowski or Carl Edwards. But expound a little bit on what happens with Carl Edwards now as NASCAR has him parked.
He's getting ready to have a really severe timeout situation. They're going to bring him up there in the truck, make him sit down and have a little word of prayer with him, with Mike Helton and probably Robin Pemberton along with John Darby, because they can clearly see the same thing we saw. He was looking for payback. He found payback. I think he was going to be surprised at the end result. I really believe that Carl thought he could spin him out, send him out down through the
not create the kind of wreck.
But at 180 miles an hour, you have this kind of situation.